Have you experienced this from some part of your life or a song or even a lyric where you've paid attention and given intention and this coincidence actually occurred?
It happens, I would say, sometimes.
Welcome to Entrepreneurs, the Playbook. I'm David Meltzer here at SoFi Stadium, the greatest stadium ever created. Blessed to be here with one of the greatest artists that I've ever known, who actually performed here at SoFi Stadium, I think last time that we were together. Incredible Aloe Blacc. Welcome to the Playbook.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
Great to have you. Your new album, I'm super excited to have you because I think it's poignant and so much needed. The title of the new album is Stand Together.
Yes.
And today, because of all the overflow of information, what I call social silos, that we create these realities and those realities separate us, it becomes more and more difficult to stand together. I personally, listening to and looking at your album, I think about the main core to capability that we need to teach, which is our ability to appreciate the differences. We are not equal. You and I are different, but what brings us or stands us together is the ability to appreciate our differences, to look for those differences and appreciate them, not try to be equal. And I think we need to go through that transformation. We give meaning to everything that we see. For you, where lies the meaning of this album, Stand Together?
There's a few ways that I can answer your question, but the first would be that the idea that we all can come together. I use music as that tool because I travel the world. I'm on stages in front of sometimes private events like this size, sometimes it's stadiums like this. And music brings people together. So literally standing together. But the idea also that no matter how different we may seem on the surface, we're all going through things that are very similar. And some of the conversation we've talked and we've heard earlier, people who are mentioning grief, people who are mentioning energy, all of these things relate to everyone on every rung of the totem pole. And understanding your story, going from, hundreds of millions of dollars in income to starting over, right? It almost doesn't matter how much money you have. What matters is who you are and what you're going through, and that's how we know. We all can stand together with these common experiences, the common emotions, the common feelings. And stand together despite the challenge, but almost propelled by the challenge of standing together. This particular album is made of songs that are inspired by nonprofit organizations, positive social missions. I've had the opportunity to have songs that have spanned across the world, touched millions upon millions of lives. And I realized that with this power and with this megaphone that I have, what can I do to amplify goodness, positivity, knowing that that's what I'm supposed to do, but also that I'll get it back in return. One of my first songs that hit was called I Need a Dollar. And they say, the power of intention and putting words into the universe, it's very important what you manifest, because those things can come back to you. And it turned out that I got the dollar. And I recognized right away, because I was a child of hip-hop, 90s golden era of hip-hop. And two of my favorite artists, Notorious Big and Tupac, both were taken way too early. And I look at the titles of some of their albums and I'm thinking, oh, wow. I look at the title of some of their songs and I look at the content of their lyrics and I think, wait a minute. Did they manifest this early departure? And to what extent can we manifest our own positive bodings and experiences by the language we use and the way that we internalize that language, and then the way that we reverberate and allow those reverberations to come back to us. So this particular album, Stand Together, number one, is a title that is demonstrative for others, but it also is instructive to me of using my voice to create an opportunity for people to really stand together, especially in this country where there's a lot of separation and division. I wanted to find ways to impress upon people that this is important. We can stand together.
And within the essence of standing together, I remember when I was questioning my faith and having a conversation with my mom. He was very religious. And I was trying to understand that this individuality of doing good, I have this saying, be kind to your future self, do good deeds. And I would say, you're just one person, you're a second grade teacher. And, there's so many people out here that are against whatever they're against. And like Mother Teresa said, I'll never march against anything. I'll march for things. Mm-hmm. And my mom was one of those people. My mom had a saying. She said, one particle of light in true science overcomes 1,000,000 particles of darkness. Sit in a closet and light a match. It'll mathematically show you that one particle of light will overcome 1,000,000 particles of darkness. I see each of your songs as a particle of light. And although the moral majority or the mass majority of communication is in being against things, your songs are for something. What is your philosophy or belief in that idea that your particles of light are going to overcome 1,000,000 particles?
Very, very important. And thank you for that question. I was signed into a record label called Interscope Records. This is the home of Dr. Dre and Aftermath. This is the home of Kendrick Lamar, Maroon 5, Lady Gaga, the Black Eyed Peas. So I had the access and the platform to present any message that I wanted to. And I recognized in the marketplace that there were a lot of messages, and this is across all media. The entertainment industry will prey upon your lesser angels, I will say. And so in order to get your attention, they're going to use anger, violence, anxiety, depression, misogyny, the things that aren't necessarily the kinds of nutritious consumption that we want to have. And I thought, well, I'm being placed here in this arena for a reason. What can I do with it? And that's when I made the conscious decision, okay, for everything that I hear that is a message of darkness, I need to be putting a message of light into the marketplace. I heard an artist on the radio at one point that said, live fast, die young. And it sounds like a catchy lyric, but when it gets down to it, nobody really wants to do that. It may sound like a fun lyric to come up with and sing, but how many times are you going to say that lyric until it becomes true? So I was like, okay, what can I do to offer the marketplace something different? And so I wrote a song called Live My Life. And the lyric was, I don't want to die young because I feel my life has just begun. So many things I want to do before I'm done. I don't want to die young. Now, will I ever have the opportunity to have a song, that lyric, be as big as this other lyric? You never know what's going to happen in the music business. But because of that, because of this intention that I come into the marketplace with, I was able to place a song like that with a vehicle that was moving. And that vehicle was an artist by the name of Avicii, rest in peace. And so I had a lyric in that song that life is a game made for everyone and love is the prize. And that lyric is the exclamation point at the end of a song that I want to say billions of people, because we had billions of streams, have literally sung. And I know I've sung that song for hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people, right? And so that single point of light, single ray of light worked for as much of the darkness as I could stomp out. And I'm going to continue to do it. That's my job. That's what I've chosen to do. That's what I think my purpose is. And hopefully I can inspire my peers to do the same, even just a little bit.
And in the idea of manifestation, it's interesting because I had will.i.am here with me talking about the lyrics of Where's the Love? And the same significance to him, which I still think when I listen to that song, that's something that should be posted everywhere. Yeah. The lyrics from that song about standing together as well. I'm obviously a firm believer in manifestation, wrote a book about it, continue to write books about it. I'm just smart enough now to change the title of it. But I believe it's more than just paying attention, that there's 5 levels of intention within your songs, your album, and your lyrics. It's not just what you do. It's not just what you say. It's not just what you think. Not just, as chairman of Napoleon Hill Institute, even not just what you believe, but as Ricky said earlier, the ultimate level of intention is actually an intuitive intelligence, inspirational feeling. When we're feeling it, belief, thought, words, and actions are all incongruent. They're all aligned with it. Mm-hmm. In this intentionality, when we pay attention to your lyrics and then give it intention, not just sing it, right? Not just act it, not just think it, not just believe it, but when we're feeling you, and you've been on stage with hundreds of thousands of people, and you know when they're feeling you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, for sure.
That equals the coincidences in the world. That's what changes the world. It's the coinciding, it's a mathematical formula of luck. Pay attention, give intention equals coincidence. Have you experienced this from some part of your life or a song or even a lyric where you've paid attention and given intention and this coincidence actually occurred?
It happens. It happens. I would say sometimes I don't even recognize it. And the coincidence also requires, I think, your ability to engage. I was destined to meet and have a conversation with Bono. The first time it should have happened was in Nice, France. I was scheduled to perform at a festival, and I'm looking out of my hotel window and I see a cloud form over the festival grounds, just over the festival grounds, and pour and dump rain all over everything, shutting the festival down. And so I got rained out. I didn't get the chance to perform. So I called the band up. I was like, let's go get dinner. The rain stopped. I don't know why they didn't turn the festival back on, but as we're walking through the streets of Nice, we hear another band playing in a bar, and we're like, I said, let's go in and see if that band will let us play with their instruments. So I did. We went in. The band was happy to let me and my band take over for 20 minutes, and we had so much fun. So we got a chance to get our performance in Nice that night. We're walking out of the bar, and there's a whole line of people trying to get in, and as I'm walking out, I'm walking past this guy, and I recognize, I'm looking at him, and I'm saying, wait a minute. You're Jack Johnson. And this is one of my favorite artists, amazing artist. And he goes, yeah, I heard you were performing here, and I came to see you. And I'm like, I'm not on the bill here. I'm on the bill of the festival. But the word had gotten out through Nice that even Jack Johnson, who doesn't need to be out in public because he's going to get mobbed.
Yeah.
And so I ended up exchanging information with Jack Johnson. And he said, I have a show in Berlin next week. And I'm like, I'm going to be in Berlin. And he invited me on stage, and we shared that moment. And that could be the end of the story. But as I left Jack and I'm walking back to my hotel room, somebody from across a courtyard yells my government name. And I was like, nobody here knows my government name. And I walk over and I see it's an old college buddy. I also went to USC. And my old college buddy is like, what are you doing here? I'm like, what are you doing here? I said, I'm supposed to perform, but I didn't because the rain. I said, what are you doing here? And she said, well, I'm on a girls' trip and I'm looking at that restaurant over there and see that guy standing there, and it's a big, huge, like burly guy, bald-headed. And I said, yeah. I was like, do you know him? Like, why are you looking at him? She goes, that's Beyonce's security guard. I think she's inside that restaurant. And I'm thinking to myself, I've met her a couple of times. Our kids are about the same age. We've gone to birthday parties. I probably could go in and say hi. But I chose not to. I chose not to. Even though I already know her, right? And I already have that access. But I chose not to. Later on social media, I see that in that restaurant was Beyonce with her husband, Jay-Z, Beyonce's mom, and Beyonce's mom's boyfriend, and Bono. And that was supposed to be, that could have been my moment to meet Bono. Could have been. Not supposed to be, could have been. But what ended up happening is, a couple of winters ago, I went to go see the U2 play at the Sphere as a regular fan, right? Bought my tickets, sat in the seats, and watched the show. Went back to the hotel room after with my wife, and my wife was interested to know more about the hotel. It was the Fontainebleau. I had performed at the grand opening.
Yep, I was there.
And okay, so at the grand opening, I performed in this little bar called, I can't remember what it was called, the Nowhere Lounge or Somewhere Lounge or something like that. And I showed her the bar, and I was like, okay, you've seen the bar. Let's go up to the room. And she sees a pool table. She's like, no, let's play pool. So we start playing pool, and I play a nice first round, so I win. She's like, oh, we can't go up to the room on if you win. So we played a second round, and then she won the second round. And she goes, oh, we can't go up to the room on a tie. And so we're playing a third round, and here's where the coincidence happens. In walks a sea of people dressed in black into the bar, and they go to this little room tucked away in the corner, which is kind of a private area. And the person in the front of that group is Bono. Now, I put my stick down and I say, I'm going to go meet Bono. And my wife says, well, I'm going to go up to the room now.
It's not like my wife.
And so it became my opportunity. Now, had I told my wife, no, let's just go up to the room. Let's not play 3 rounds of pool, right? I would have missed another opportunity. And so this time, just being a good husband, it made me recognize the chance for the coin. But I also didn't say no to the opportunity, right? I had never met him. And we had a chance to talk. And in that talk, he inspired a song on the new album, Stand Together.
Wow. That's so amazing.
And the song is called One Good Thing. He told me a story about one of our mutual friends, Harry Belafonte. And that story led to me penning a song.
That was incredible. I was actually there with Gary Vaynerchuk that night, and in that bar.
Were you there?
Oh yeah, of course, with Jakey Bakey. I was also at the YouTube concert. In the name of being vulnerable, huge YouTube fan. As a fan there with my wife, and I don't usually do this, but my wife gave me a gummy, so I slept through.
Oh, come on.
There's my witness who has a picture of it.
Oh,
because people were taking pictures of me going, Dave Meltzer's at YouTube at the Sphere, drooling on myself, high as a kite on like 5 grams of
that's wild.
My wife was wide awake, making fun of me and making sure more pictures were amplified. But We were this close to meeting again.
Yeah.
Met you, Bono. That there are no accidents in that realm. Just as we finish up, faith plays a role for me in manifestation or spirituality, because it's not just the wisdom that you've acquired to build this album and to manifest what you want, but a lot of times as we go down this journey, we realize there's no evidence that I'm going to meet Bono. The evidence is contrary to me ever meeting Bono. And yet we have faith that if we pay attention and give this intention in the right trajectory, in what I call divine direction, that we still have faith that at the right time, at the right place, I'm going to meet Bono. And obviously I'm using that analogously to whatever you want in your life, whoever, whatever situation. And it becomes more repetitive. You almost expect it. I get a feeling that you're like me. You expect it. Even though there's no evidence and the evidence is contrary that your movie's going to happen or my TV show is going to get on ABC or other weird shit in my life. I just know. I expect it. And there's no evidence, or the evidence is contrary to a lot of shit that I know. For you, how important is that faith within the context of manifestation?
Faith is really huge. And I believe that everything that you want, you can have. It may not come when you want it or how you want it,
right?
But it can come. And to be careful what you wish for, because if you push too hard with a certain wish, you may get it, but there can be a lot of unintended consequences that come with it. And those unintended consequences are probably going to be counterproductive to the goal that you want.
For every force in the Tao, if anyone has ever studied 81 lessons of the Tao, for every force is a counterforce.
Yes, there is.
And so as you create more force, which is different than intention, you will experience the counterforce, which is why I think I lost everything. Because I created a tremendous amount of force to make a lot of money, but not for the sake. Initially, it was for the sake of the right reason. Buying my mom a house, financial security for my mom. But after 9 months out of law school, it became a force that then created this counterforce in my life.
I hear you. And the way that I've kind of visualized this force concept is, the more that you push against a pendulum, the more that pendulum wants to swing back. And it's going to swing all the way back as far as you've pushed it.
Yep.
And so what I've learned is the strongest antidote to entropy, to unintended consequences, is love. Love is the strongest gravity. And so rather than punching the pendulum, if you hug the pendulum, you'll be part of that strong gravity, right? If you can be happy with this stillness, then that is, I think, more rewarding than trying to swing the pendulum as far in your favor, because that swing back, it may not swing back to your detriment, but guaranteed it's going to swing back and it's going to affect other people. I think about how in my business, I've had the opportunity to endorse companies and brands, and some of the brands are luxury brands. And one of the questions I have for a lot of the executives that approach me is, this is a quote unquote luxury brand, but how far along the supply chain and the entire life cycle of this brand is there luxury? Is it for only the end consumer, the manufacturer, and the business? Or what about the guy driving the delivery truck? What about the people extracting the minerals? What about the neighborhood where the minerals are extracted and the people that live in that? How far along that value chain is there real value? And can we actually be pushing for value for everybody and not just ourselves? That is hopefully what I am able to do with my music, and hopefully what everybody else can achieve with the goals that they have in life.
Well, you've inspired me as Bono inspired you, and Harry Belafonte inspired Bono. I think that there needs to be a training about hugging the pendulum, a song about hugging the pendulum, a poem, Marshall, about hugging the pendulum. I think that would be an amazing inspiration for everybody. I've never heard that concept within the context of the Tao or the force and the counterforce. It is something that I'm going to pursue, and I Hope you do as well. It's really resonating with me. There's a reason and a meaning to everything that we do. It's aligned in the divine direction of where we're supposed to be, when we're supposed to be, and how we show up in that meaning. There's nobody that illustrates or represents that greater than you. Aloe Blacc, an incredible force and of love, tugging the pendulum. Thanks for joining me. This is David Meltzer with Entrepreneurs, the Playbook here at SoFi Stadium. Catch our next episode.